Let's take a look at the key aspects of Christian decision making. Firstly, when we look at the word Christian, we need to understand that a Christian is somebody who follows the ways and teachings of Jesus Christ. So somebody who's aware of the gospel message, who knows who Jesus is, who's on board with the teachings that he presented to us more than 2,000 years ago, and who try to live their lives in the way that Jesus did, in the way that Jesus calls us to every day. When making our decisions as Christians, we first look at our values. Our values are those things that we care about, those things that are important to us. So if our family are important to us, if our friends are important to us, if our faith is important to us, then our decisions will help guide us towards having good relationships with family and friends, exploring our faith, saying our prayers. If we value sport, if we value our own health, we're going to make decisions that will allow us to participate in a particular type of sport, will allow us to look at the different ways that we might be able to lead a healthier life. What are we eating? When are we exercising? Okay? If we value our education, we're going to do our homework. We're going to look at what's needed. We're going to go that little extra mile to make sure that we're keeping up with our education, that we're getting everything we can out of our lessons, and that we're learning and developing and growing all the time. So when we think about those things that we value, we think about what's important to us. It could also be qualities that we might have, qualities that we desire in others, people who are honest, trustworthy, people who are forgiving, people who are kind, people who love other people, who are just. All right, these different qualities, if we value those, if you're someone who values honesty, then you're going to always speak the truth when you're talking with people. If you value kindness, then you're going to be kind when you're talking with other people, when you're helping other people. Do I help that homeless man on the street there asking for money? All right, if you value kindness, if you value goodness, then yes, that's going to drive your decision towards helping that person. If you value selfishness, if you value only yourself, then maybe you might step back from that and think, I'm not going to help another person. That's not something that I care about at this time. So understanding our own personal values is very important, because that's what helps to guide the decisions that we make. And when we make a decision, there's 5 important steps that come out in this decision. First one is analysing the scenario. What's happening in this scenario that leads me to make a decision? What are the different options that I have when I want to make a decision? Okay, a lot of the times it'll just be 2 options. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 or 5 options. We then have to choose one of those options. You can't sit there knowing these options and surveying the area and working out the scenario. Eventually we have to choose one of those options, and then we put that option into action. Okay, we can't say I'm going to buy a red car and yep, I've made that decision. You actually then have to go and buy that red car that you've decided to purchase. And then finally, we always evaluate the outcome of that decision. So these 5 steps that we take each time we make a decision, sometimes they're for very basic decisions. What will I have for breakfast in the morning? Great. I'm hungry. I can have cereal. I can have toast. I can have fruit. I can have yogurt. I can have nothing. Choose one of the options. I'm going to have nothing. Can't be bothered eating today. Put that into action. Skip breakfast altogether. Go on with your day. Evaluate the outcome. By 11 a.m, you're very hungry. Your stomach is churning. You need to eat. Maybe that was a bad decision. In the same way, analyze the scenario of, I've been asked to move from my job. I need to move interstate to continue working at this place of work where I am. What are the different options? I either move with the company or I resign from the job. Choose one of the options. Maybe you decide to move with the company. So you put that into action, you say goodbye to family and friends, you move interstate, you set yourself up. Then after maybe 6 months, you evaluate and say, was that the right decision? Am I happy where I am? If you are, then good. If not, then you come back to making another decision. So it's following these 5 steps for those quick decisions that we make without too much thought, right down to those bigger decisions in life. But something else that guides our decision making is our conscience. So the conscience is something that guides us towards doing what is the right thing, helps us decide what's the right thing in this decision and what's the wrong thing, what's the good, what's the bad. We sometimes think of the angel on the one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder, whispering in somebody's ear, do this, no, do this, do this, no, do this. Okay, for our own conscience, it's guiding us towards what is accepted as the good thing to do. From a Catholic point of view, this is one of my favourite quotes, which comes from a document from the Second Vatican Council, which was held over 50 years ago. Great gathering of all the bishops around the world, looking at the church, looking at how they can be more relevant. This was 50 years ago. Some great documents came out of that. One of those documents was Gaudium et Spes, which is looking at the church in the modern world. And this is one of my favourite quotes, talking about conscience, where it says that the conscience is the most secret core and sanctuary of a human. There they are alone with God, whose voice echoes in their depths. So from a Catholic point of view, the conscience is really where God meets you and guides you towards what the right decision is to do. Many of us, doesn't mean we're always going to choose the right decision, but all of us within are always drawn towards the good. What's the right thing to do? Everybody knows what the right thing is to do, and as Catholics we believe that it's God that's helping to steer us towards making the right decision. Doesn't mean we always choose the right decision, but we can trust the fact that God is there within. Okay, God's voice echoing in our own depths, telling us, guiding us, making sure that we're aware of what the right path is, and then God giving us the freedom to make that choice.